Nevada's state reptile, symbols of the Mojave, and threatened. Desert tortoises.
It's early in the morning and we're out here at the Boulder City Conservation Easement and we're meeting up with some researchers. They're going to tell us more about what's going on here with the desert tortoise. Hey Roy.
Hi.
So this is the spot, huh?
This is it.
Meet Roy Avril Murray, the Desert Tortoise Recovery Coordinator for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Roy's been working with tortoises for 24 years.
What are we trying to accomplish? We're just trying to get their numbers and track them and see how they're doing?
Yeah, that's the gist of it. We released a bunch of tortoises here last fall, and now we're going around the loop and seeing how they're doing since we released them and following them over time.
Roy and his team follow approximately 300 desert tortoises in an effort to preserve the species and its habitat.
Brent has led us right to a tortoise out.
Now, my first question is, where's the, oh, I do see the transmitter.
So it's a little radio about the size of, I don't know, between a quarter and a $half covered in epoxy. And the convenient thing with tortoises is we can glue things directly to their shell. And the antenna threads along the back.
The monitored tortoises have radio transmitters attached to their shells and each has a unique frequency.
And are you seeing a healthy tortoise? Is this a good sign, what we're seeing here?
To me, it looks like a healthy tortoise. He's obviously very alert, coming to investigate us.
Desert tortoises can live up to 80 years or longer, but it's impossible to determine the exact age of an adult.
The population has declined by over 20% in just over the last 10 years. So we've been working with Clark County and the Great Basin Institute to increase the population by releasing some more tortoises here and then monitoring them to see how they're responding, how they're surviving, how they're adjusting to the habitat.
How do you feel emotionally about seeing this tortoise and it seems like everything's going okay?
When you actually see one alert like this, you see that it's curious, and the more we study them, the more we find out that, you know, they're really interesting creatures.
But we're lucky to see him today because when it gets warm, he's not going to be out walking around, right?
He'll be tucked into a burrow in just a couple of hours or so as it starts heating up.
Desert tortoises spend the majority of their lives in burrows, primarily to escape the heat or to hibernate.
And they live alone. There's nobody else in there, right?
There's probably no one else in there. So every once in a while we do find other tortoises sharing the same burrow.
If somebody's out hiking in the desert out here and they find one of these, what do? You leave it alone.
The key thing is to leave it alone. We encourage people to, watch, but don't touch, don't pick it up. They have a tendency to release their bladder. They have large bladders, they store a lot of water in there, and living in a desert, that's critical to their survival. And if you scare one and pick it up and it voids that bladder, then it can be a death sentence.
Next up is Terry Christopher. Terry works as an associate director at the Great Basin Institute. His experience with tortoises also exceeds 20 years.
When did the animals first get into trouble on some sort of list, and where do they stand today?
So they were first emergency listed in '89 as an endangered species, and then they were moved shortly after that to a threatened status, which is where they're at right now.
And are the numbers stabilized? Are they going down, up? Where do we stand?
In some of these areas here in southern Nevada, they're slowly starting to trend up, and that's one of the reasons for, adding tortoises out here is to try and increase that population.
Obviously, having the species expand and propagate is important. So what are the mating seasons and how does that work out here?
So mating occurs primarily in the fall, and then the females will ovulate in the spring, lay their eggs late spring, early summer, and usually about 60 days or so for those eggs to incubate, and those hatchlings will emerge late summer, early fall.
Females lay a clutch of 3 to 12 eggs up to 3 times per year.
Why do we care about the tortoise and its health?
Tortoises are important for a lot of other species. They provide burrows and habitats for other animals. They help in dispersing seeds. So it's kind of an indicator species as to how the desert as a whole is doing.
And how is the desert as a whole doing, in your opinion?
We're definitely facing some issues. You know, drought is an ongoing issue here in southern Nevada and the desert Southwest as a whole. Those are things that complicate the lives of tortoises as well.
But you said it, nature works synergistically, it all works together, so it's not just the tortoise, we're looking at the health of the whole desert.
You bet, definitely. You know, tortoises have the ability of being very patient animals. You know, they can wait for better times.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
What I'm reminded of out here today is that nature is not a novelty, it's a synergistic approach. And when one thing works well, it affects other things. And that's why it feels so good to know that there's guys out here monitoring the whole thing.